All right, let's dive into one of the absolute cornerstones of Western philosophy, Plato's Republic. Now, I know what you might be thinking, ancient book, kind of dusty, right? But trust me, the central question it asks is something we all wrestle with, and it's as personal as it gets. And here it is, the question that drives the whole thing. Why be good if you could get away with being bad? Seriously, forget about society, forget about getting caught. If you had some kind of superpower that made you totally invisible, would you still do the right thing? This isn't just some abstract philosophical puzzle, it cuts right to the heart of what morality even is. So to really drive this point home, Plato brings in his own brother, a guy named Glaucon. And Glaucon, he's not buying it. He basically says, look, people are only good because they're scared of getting punished. And to prove it, he tells this incredible story. So picture this. There's a shepherd. His name is Gyges. He's just minding his own business when, bam, an earthquake rips open the ground. He goes to investigate and finds this hidden tomb. And inside, he finds a ring, just a simple ring. But he puts it on, fiddles with it, and realizes that when he twists it a certain way, poof, he's completely invisible. And what's so wild is what happens next. Does he use this power for good? Nope, not even for a second. The very first thing he does is sneak into the palace, seduce the queen, murder the king, and take over the whole kingdom. Just like that. Glaucon's point is clear. Take away the consequences, and the temptation to be unjust is just too much for anyone to handle. So that's the big challenge, right? Glaucon is basically saying, give this ring to a so-called good person and a bad person, and they'll both end up doing the exact same terrible things. And pretty much the entire rest of the Republic is Socrates' massive, brilliant attempt to prove him wrong, to show that being a just person is worth it for its own sake, even if you have that magic ring. Okay, so how does Socrates respond? Well, his approach is kind of weird, but absolutely brilliant. He says, look, trying to find justice inside one person's soul is like trying to read super tiny print from across a room. It's almost impossible. So he says, let's do this instead. Let's build a whole perfectly just city in our minds. That way, justice will be written out in giant letters, and we can all see it clearly. And this is really the key to the whole book. This city they're about to describe, it's not supposed to be a real political plan. It's a metaphor. It's a giant magnifying glass for the soul. The idea is, if we can figure out what makes a city just and harmonious, we can then use that knowledge to understand what makes a single human soul healthy and good. So, what does this amazing city actually look like? So in this perfect city, harmony is everything. And it comes from a simple principle. Everyone does the one job they are naturally best at. And to keep everything running smoothly, the leaders tell this foundational myth, what's often called the noble lie. They say that every person is born with a specific metal mixed into their soul. Gold for the wise rulers, silver for the courageous soldiers, and bronze or iron for all the workers and artisans. It sounds a little strange to us, but the point is that if everyone knows their place and embraces their role, the whole city just works. And here is the big payoff. After all that talk about cities and classes and metals, Socrates finally brings it all back home. He turns to Glaucon and says, you see this city we just built? It's not just a city. It's a perfect map of the human soul. And the one-to-one comparison is just perfect. Think about it. The wise, gold-souled rulers, that's your reason, the part of you that loves logic and truth. The brave, silver-souled soldiers, that's your spirit, your sense of honor, your courage, even your righteous anger. And the workers, the bronze and iron folks, well, that's your appetites, all those basic desires for food, drink, money, sex, all of it. So here is Plato's big definition of justice. It has nothing to do with following laws or rules on the outside. No, justice is internal harmony. A just person is someone whose soul is in balance, where your reason is the wise ruler in charge, guiding your spirit and keeping your appetites in check. And injustice, well, that's a sickness of the soul. It's like a civil war breaking out inside you, where your desires or your anger try to take over the throne. But Socrates isn't done yet. To really prove that this kind of just life is the best life, he's got to show what the alternative looks like. So now he shows us what happens when that inner government totally collapses. He walks us through this terrifying downward spiral, using the decay of a city, once again, as a mirror for the decay of a person's soul. It starts with the ideal soul, what he calls an aristocracy, which just means rule by the best, in this case, reason. But if reason gets lazy, the soul can slip into a tamarchy,
where it's all about honor and winning. Then that can collapse into an oligarchy, where it's all about money. From there, it gets even worse, falling into what he calls a democracy. And he doesn't mean our modern idea of it. For Plato, this is a soul in total chaos, pulled in a million directions by every passing desire. And at the very bottom of that spiral, you get tyranny, a soul enslaved by one single monstrous craving.
And this is the knockout punch to Glaucon's whole argument. The tyrant, the guy with the invisibility ring, who can do whatever he wants, the guy who looks like the most powerful person in the world. Socrates says he's actually the most pathetic, miserable slave of all. He's a slave to his own bottomless desires. He's got no real friends, he's constantly afraid, and his soul is a complete wreck. He is, without a doubt, the unhappiest person you could ever imagine.
You'd think he would stop there, right? He's answered the challenge. But Plato takes it one step further. He ends the entire Republic not with more logic, but with a story. A powerful, cosmic myth that shows the consequences of your choices don't just affect this life, but ripple out into eternity. This is the myth of It's about a soldier who dies on the battlefield, but instead of staying dead, his soul gets a tour of the afterlife, and then he's sent back to tell everyone what he saw. And what he saw was a system of cosmic justice, where good deeds are rewarded and every single injustice is punished 10 times over.
But the real climax of the story is this incredible moment of choice. All the souls, after they've been judged, are brought together and shown patterns of all the possible lives they could live next. You could choose to be a king, a poet, a private citizen. You could even choose to be an animal. And the only thing you have to guide you is the wisdom you earned in your last life. The person who spent their life practicing philosophy, cultivating their reason, and living justly, they're the ones who are prepared to make the best possible choice.
And then a prophet declares the most important rule of the universe. He says, the choice is yours. God is not responsible. I mean, what a powerful line. It's this ultimate statement of personal responsibility. Your fate isn't sealed. Your destiny is in your own hands. And it's forged by the kind of person you choose to be, day in and day out. And that's where Plato leaves us. He brings it all back from the afterlife, from the ideal city, from the magic ring, right back to you. The life you are living right now is your preparation. It's building the character of your soul. So the final question is pretty simple. If you had to stand in that line today and choose your next life, what kind of life would you have the wisdom to choose?